Guys, welcome to Just the Tip. We were kicking it off. It's another Friday day filled with just some fun stuff that we're going to talk about. My name is Josh.
Does my hair look all right? I'm King Benjamin Cage.
Hey, we can get a closer look at that hair.
Look at that, dude.
All right.
Yeah.
Guys, thanks for joining us. This is Just the Tip, where we do cover some current happenings in the world and let you know what King and I think about them. But we're going to jump into our show today. A lot of happenings going on around the upcoming presidential election. And if you are anybody, you know what is going on with the Democratic Party right now. Big piece is that Biden stepped out, was told that he has better plans. I don't know if anybody went through and read the synopsis that they put out, but now Harris is who has officially been endorsed. So what we're going to do is I'm going to switch over to a screen so you guys can see what we're looking at as well. So, first one. Netflix Reed Hastings backs Kamala Harris with a $7 million donation.
Damn.
$7 million.
Damn. You know what always rubbed me the wrong way, and it was just fucking weird, was that these people will go out and they will campaign and they will raise all these millions and millions of fucking dollars for a job that doesn't even pay that much. Isn't that weird?
Yeah.
And when you have all these cities and all these, I don't know, people that could use that money, and I'm not saying, you know, give it out socialism or anything like that, but you could create opportunities with that money. You could create jobs with that money. You could create a better living standard with that money, but that money just goes to push them through. It's a popularity contest for a job that does not pay anywhere near what those donations are.
That's a singular donation too.
That's a singular donation. That's also a nice way to go, yeah, I'm a Trump guy, and I'm not. But Trump people are going to go, yeah, I'm not subscribing to Netflix anymore. Cancel culture goes both ways.
Yeah. I mean, that's rampant everywhere you go. Cancel culture just with everything. We were actually another topic, not to deviate, but another topic we were just talking about is how people just go after people. And you'll see a little bit in a few minutes that they're still doing this kind of stuff. But we go after people from some stuff that used to be socially acceptable, but now that new feelings are about, everything shifts and changes. Netflix giving $7 million towards this, though. Like King said, what could have really came out of that $7 million, or where could that have been put, rather than two parties that pretty much you're already going to vote red or blue. So we spend billions with a B on just this campaigning and the pushing this down on people when it's almost already a set idea within their heads. I know so many people that they're not voting for the person. They're just voting for the color, and that actually happened. You could parade
a fucking dog turd out there. You could put an actual piece of fecal matter from a dog and put a blue sticker or a red sticker on it and be like, wow, sharp as a tack. Oh, make America great. You could put whatever you want on, like of those two parties, and put it on that dog turd, and people are like, yeah, so blindly obedient to it. And it's like obedience through, I don't know, through submission.
You mean like putting a ear bandage on?
Yeah, kind of like that. No, it's just a trendy thing. It's really a popularity contest. Nobody focuses on any of the policies, because if you look at Kamala Harris's policies and you look what, I don't know, Tulsi Gabbard said to her the last DNC, I believe it was, she handed her own ass, and then she received 0 votes for the delegates. So, like, she literally did. She called her out, her corrupt career as a prosecutor, where she held people in prison longer than their sentencing to use for cheap labor, and how she, I think it was 1,500 people arrested for marijuana charges, and then when she was asked if she ever smoked marijuana, she laughed. Like, Tulsi Gabbard just fucking full sent on her ass and just dismantled her. But people, even in the age of the internet, where you can go and study anything that a person signed bill-wise, or any of their policies or any of their bullshit, you can go research them, and yet you don't do the due diligence. But because they're wearing the blue little D or the red little R, you're a fucking idiot, and you pull that lever.
Donkey and elephant game, baby.
Yeah, man. And you guys are just the sheep walking around.
Yep.
Anyways.
Now, to piggyback off of this, so the next subject actually continues on the Harris-Biden piece. We're going to jump right over to this so you guys can see it. So Kamala Harris takes over war chest as Biden campaign becomes Harris for president.
War chest. There's some titties with like missiles and shit.
What a name.
The verbiage on that one was really weird.
Yep.
That's kind of weird because if everybody that gave those donations, and I think I'm not sure if there's a procedure where I know people are asking for her to give that money back to the people that donated.
Yep.
That way they have to give it to her.
Right.
Because the nominee was, or the guy was.
Right in the background.
Biden.
Yep.
Yeah, then the people gave that money to him, and yes, she's affiliated, but they gave it to him.
That's even
her.
what the subtext says.
Yeah.
It's a technicality because the money was raised for both Biden and Harris. She can now use it for what is her campaign for the presidency.
Yeah, but that'd be like
you donating to me and then me giving it to whoever I want.
Like your wife or something. Like,
Correct.
you know what I mean? I'm not saying that she would do anything nefarious with it or anything like that, but just saying like I donated to you, and then wait a minute, the game changed because like her policies might not be his policies. Like she just might be along for the ride because like in these past 4 years there really hasn't been much but cackling out of her. That's it.
Right.
There hasn't been really anything substantial to come out of her face except for
the
trash.
Yeah. Huh? The border. Yeah, called the border czar and then said that was never a thing. There's a bunch, and neither one of us are fans of either one of these parties, guys. So it's not the fact that we're talking down on Harris saying that we support Trump. That's not the case. We're looking full circle to say how do people rather not call these little things out? How is this just status quo?
It's because it's an echo chamber. It gets spoken to existence and people see it and then they run with it.
Yep.
Again, do your due diligence. Look stuff up. In the age of information, ignorance is a choice, and a lot of people are blissfully ignorant. They don't fucking go do any research whatsoever. They just get out there and chant whatever's being chanted. Again, I've already spoke on previous videos on why I think, Trump's kind of like in on the fix for a lot of this. Look at the people that he's going to be potentially hiring for his cabinet. A lot of them are very big, high up, rich people like draining the swamp.
Yep.
They're actually part of the swamp.
Big pharma candidates, Project 25 candidates. There's a bunch of
people that are already talking about bombing Iraq and and even Candace Owens said, can we get somebody in office that doesn't want to bomb the Middle East?
Yeah.
Like that would have been I'd have took you seriously, Trump. I'd have took him seriously if he grabbed Candace Owens as the VP, because she would have been like, she'd have held his ass in check.
Right.
Or if he grabbed Tulsi Gabbard as VP, the one that called out Harris, and because she would have held it in check, like, bro, don't do that shit. Like,
right.
But he didn't. So part of the problem or part of the solution, and I think he's part of the problem. So.
Before we do shift topics again, we actually today went live first on TikTok. So I'm actually going to switch over real quick again. This is our newest venture that we put into this show. So we are also on Kick. We are also on YouTube. But this is our first stream up on TikTok. And what we normally do is on Fridays, right around 1 o'clock, we go live, cover whatever's happened this last week. It does not have to be political, but during this political season, a lot of it is going to be.
Yeah.
We've done everything from just random thoughts that we have to subjects that we bring in multiple people and have them sit right here, and even debuted a few different songs right here live. So make sure you come back on Fridays at 1 o'clock to check us out. We appreciate you jumping on right now.
Yeah, and I'll also do some streams throughout the week here, whether they be video games or random topics. So we'll try to get as much content out there as possible.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So, guys, we're going to switch to the next one, which I think today is the official day that it comes out, correct? It was just there were some pre-premieres. I think 7/26 was the date for Deadpool and Wolverine.
Opening weekend, yeah.
Yep. So, this guy right here. So we actually started to have a conversation before we did go live about this, but I'm glad King pumped the brakes and said, "Hey, yeah,
I was like, let's just do it fresh."
Right.
Like, no, I don't want to give you anything.
One of the things we talked about before we jump into this movie we don't always have the same opinion, especially on media and what have you. I was a big Logan fan, and that's because I didn't really read the source material of old Logan and everything. But if anybody's seen Logan, and you didn't really know the source, that's kind of where my idea was, that I thought, and we're going to try to keep this as spoiler free as we can, but I thought that this was Old Man Logan too. And I don't know if that's true or not, and he's not going to say it, but
no, I won't give. I'll try to stay away from any of the spoilers. Yeah, I went into this thinking I was going to see this movie in a couple weeks after it had been out, and the reason being because I knew it was going to be flooding the theaters. I did, however, go and see it in a very small town of Shenango Valley. I figured because I went to a local comic book store there, Dawson's Geek. If you're in the area, check it out. Dude's awesome. He's a comic book artist and owns his own comic book shop, living his dream. But he said he was going. I was like, wow, you guys got a movie theater here? And he's like, yeah. Why wouldn't we? I'm like, well, it's such a small town. I didn't think. So I'm like, wait a minute. I can go see this tonight, and there really isn't that many people in this town to come to this theater to see it, and it won't be packed. Literally, maybe 40 people showed up. So I did go and see it. The day it was supposed to come out. I mean, I guess they advertise it as today. But I went and saw it yesterday, and I had the expectations of it being on par with the other two Deadpool movies. Yeah. I'm thinking, okay, it's Disney. He's probably going to keep it just as raunchy and as bloody as it was in the previous movies. No fucking way, dude. It's like 5 or 10-fold that. Like, they full send on everything. The sexual comments, the swearing, the cursing, the blood, the guts, like, they amped it the fuck up. I'm thinking like Disney was gonna put a little bit of a cap on that because,
kibosh it, yeah.
House of the Mouse. But no, dude, they went hard. And yes, it was a good movie. And another reason I didn't want to go see it right away, other than it being crowded out, was because I know Disney, what they've been doing with the Marvel Universe and with Star Wars. They will put out one good thing, and then the shit in between it is just absolute dog shit. So I really am very apprehensive to give them my money in certain cases. But the scenario last night was just perfect for it. Like, wait, I can go see this and not be like completely crowded theater. Yeah, fuck it, I'll go. So
I think this is officially Disney's first R-rated movie too.
Oh,
they own other ones under Buena Vista and under Fox.
Yeah.
But I think this is actually the first, and that might not be true, but I want to say that this is the first R-rated produced Disney movie, not one of their conglomerates or one of their other companies that they own or subsidy that they have.
There were some cameos in here that I'm so hard. I'm not going to say who they are, but like
I'm not even scrolling down the cast.
I was kind of like, holy shit. They're in this movie.
Yep.
And it was cool to see them. Some throwback characters in there. But no, it was definitely entertaining. It was bloodier than all hell. It was raunchier than all hell.
In fact, it's first two categories of the type of movie it is buddy comedy and raunchy comedy.
Yeah.
Then it goes into superhero.
Yeah. Yeah. But no, it was definitely well done. It's that dude, like, he didn't hold anything back. Did not hold anything back.
And if anybody's ever had the opportunity to kind of follow the friendship of these two on X, what used to be called Twitter, that's always been entertaining. I don't even know if you've seen where they made 2 commercials for each other.
Maybe.
So these guys, and this would be like me and my friends making a movie. It just feels like that kind of environment when I look at it. But they actually own Laughing Man Coffee and then Aviator Gin. So they had a fake feud that they created on X for about a year, and they would say total random things. Like they would say Ryan Reynolds is a complete douchebag, and that's the only post that he put up on X.
Yeah.
So everybody knew they were playing around, but then after about a year, they said they squashed the beef, and they actually were debuting 2 trailers, and they each had to make a trailer for the other person's company. Shows Ryan Reynolds, goes through his Laughing Man Coffee, and of course he's using the Ryan Reynolds comedy and cutting in other words, and he says, "Hugh can be behind such a heroic effort. You guessed it, Hugh Jackman." But then it rolls over to Hugh Jackman, and they made it as if he was still not knowing that the jokes were over, because he takes his shows right in his living room, and he just starts and says, Ryan Reynolds is a complete asshole, and he tips his gin over, dumps it on the table, and goes, gin's pretty good, have to try it someday.
Yeah. the dynamic between the two of them on screen is definitely there. It's not a letdown. They fed off of each other rather well. It's, you can see Sabretooth. I would have rather seen Liev Schreiber as Sabretooth, but they brought back Big Sky. I believe that's the guy he was a professional wrestler at one point in time. I think it's the same dude.
It looks like the same one from the
it looks just like him. But that's them in the Void. There's a lot of people that are in the Void. It's good. Definitely gonna be good if you go see it.
I do have something with this too. So there was an article that was posted on IGN.com about Fox's X-Men. So it's not even the fact that they were saying it was bad or whatever. Obviously, those movies came out 20 plus years ago originally. Mm-hmm. And they were saying that this would have been a good time to introduce a new Wolverine, to introduce new characters as the X-Men, because this would be Disney's first X-Men and leaving the Fox one behind.
They have dropped the ball on that shit so many times, and one comes to mind is when once they got the rights to Fox characters, which was several years ago now, they started putting out the externals or whatever, the internals or Eternals. Sorry. Eternals, that whack ass Captain Marvel trio, like all these stupid fucking movies. When you had the rights to these Fox characters, you could have been like shoehorning it right then and there, little plugs here and there. And Doctor Strange would have been a great idea to do it right there. They gave you a little bit of Professor X, but that they could have did so much more with that.
Yep. And
they keep bleeding it out and then putting in all these fucking stupid political fucking, MCU bullshit, as, Nerdrotic would say.
Yeah.
They just beat the dead horse until there's nothing left, and they continue to swing on it.
So I am a fan favorite of Jackman being Logan. Yeah. There's some other ones that I definitely think they could have recasted, but then if you're bringing back one...
Clint Eastwood's son. He looks just like Clint Eastwood. Eastwood, Hugh Jackman looks like a middle-aged Clint Eastwood.
A lot, yeah.
And either that or you got to go with the comic book accurate Wolverine, the little 5'2" dude. Like he was a literal runt.
Yeah, just burly and.
Yeah, he was just a scrapper. He was just
Yep.
He was nasty with it.
I think I would have, when they're merging these two universes, I was hoping just to see something new, like new introduction of characters. They did it with Hulk how many times? Just like that. Rather than carrying... And I haven't seen the new movie, so I can't really tell you who's in it as far as cameos. But I am really
biting my tongue heavily right now. I could so be blown, because you said new characters, and I'll just say that there's some.
There's some new and some returning.
Yes.
Okay. All right, guys. Next subject. So sticking with internet trends, though, and
wait a minute. Were you going to go to the MB, or because my Facebook post, even though it's retroactive to what we were talking about?
I didn't know you had a Facebook post up.
No, click on Facebook real quick. Okay. Don't bring it on the screen. See if it's still there.
We're going to peep this before we let you peep it.
Back to the Kamala Harris. I wanted to bring this up when we were.
Do you want this on the screen?
Yeah, bring it on the screen. Okay. We forgot that we're going to backtrack here.
Da-da-da!
Yes. The DNC will hold a virtual nomination for Kamala Harris prior to the formal one. They just blocked delegates from nominating a new candidate in Chicago. Kamala is being given the nomination, and delegates have no say. Wow. Yeah. For somebody who stands for democracy, I myself think that democracy is tyranny of the majority. I don't, for the most part, at least on that level, it's a sham. And if it wasn't, people wouldn't be so worried about who got the other, who got the torch. You know what I mean? Whoever had the power, you wouldn't. If democracy wasn't tyranny of the majority, people wouldn't be so worried about who was getting voted in.
Yep.
But yeah, for a party that's saying we're saving democracy, you are doing
circumventing
the exact opposite of the democratic process.
Yep.
And just shoehorning shit in there. So, isn't that fucking weird?
Yeah. That's just sidestepping your own rules or your own...
They're buzz terms.
Yeah.
They're just buzz terms.
Yeah.
Like anything that gets spouted out there, they're just buzz
Like
terms that people
electoral
catch. Like democracy or the phobias, anything that's connected with phobia. Like they're just buzz terms. They actually have almost no meaning anymore because they're so overly used and saturated.
Toxic, all this other.
Yeah, they're just like
they
like everything is this. Like you say it. That's the only word. That's your word of the week calendar bullshit, and I'm gonna run with it. But yeah, they're saving democracy by not being democratic.
Makes sense.
Cool. I respect it.
Next one, guys. We're going to jump back into some internet happenings. So there has been an ongoing scandal with Jimmy Donaldson, which is better known as Mr. Beast online. So Mr. Beast would be known for just all of his different antics he does, video games, all the way through let's throw money at this, whatever it is this time. He's already had several controversies throughout his YouTube career. But the latest one has to do with Ava Chris Tyson and the allegations that were coming out about him or her, a longtime collaborator and friend of Mr. Beast. So if you don't know what happened, I'm just going to read this verbatim real quick. There's been a recent flurry of controversy surrounding Mr. Beast. And a summary of the key issues are... So with Ava Tyson, a longtime collaborator and friend of Mr. Beast, Ava Tyson left the channel amid allegations of grooming minors. Mr. Beast initially stood by her, but later hired an independent investigator to examine the claims, and Tyson denied any wrongdoing and apologized for any past behavior that may have caused him or caused them.
This dude is, I believe, the golden boy of YouTube. Or streaming.
Yeah.
He only has a few subscribers more than us, I'm sure.
One or two.
Yeah.
One or two.
Yeah. Bajillion.
Yeah.
But no, I guess I have a very surface level knowledge of what's going on here.
Same.
But I guess what people's gripe is that this dude went and adopted a pronoun once these allegations started getting thrown his way so he could hide behind that banner.
Yeah.
So that's very strategic and preemptive and
calculated.
Yeah, very calculated if that's the case.
Mm-hmm.
I think that also kind of that whole thing again spoken into existence with how everything's hyper-emphasized with the pronoun and the LGB and the letters that follow. It's people that don't have any identity of their own, and then they go grab these terms, and then that banner that was supposed to mean something is now convoluted. It's now toxic, if you will, like because not everybody stands for the same thing. It just one big old identity politics, like, oh, I'm safe from accountability. I am in this community. Yeah. Or I'm in that community. Now, I'm not even talking about LGBT. Like, oh, I'm this, I'm
all
that.
All different facets.
Yeah. Right. Like I get to hide behind that banner that's there, rather than you're holding me accountable for what treacherous shit I've done.
Actions should be what it's about.
Yes. So, no, if that's the case, then, yeah, that could hurt some pockets. But like when he first crossed over into the Ava or whatever it was, and people were still calling it out, Mr. B said, throwing around the transphobia term, and they're like, no, we're not actually going at that. We're going at the potential of this happening.
The potential,
but there's also former employees of Mr. Beast have come forward and said this dude knew Mr. Beast knew all the time, the whole time.
And I don't know him. He doesn't know him. None of us that would be watching the show know this guy. But that was the first words that came out of my mouth before we switched over to this podcast live. Was if it says that he's a longtime collaborator and friend, if there's truth to these grooming pieces, how, as a long-term friend, wouldn't you know about that?
There are
things you can keep from people.
Yeah. There are people that like you could be in like a relationship or a friendship or whatever, and people will hide certain characteristics or
qualities,
tells around other people and so there's a possibility of that. But when you have former employees coming out going, he knew.
Yeah.
Then you knew. If he knew, he knew.
Correct. Correct.
Huh?
Yeah.
Oh.
I know that you know me, that I know you.
Right. Some Robert De Niro shit right there.
I was actually talking about the dodgeball part. Come on, I know you. And I know that you know that I know you.
Oh, I haven't seen that in years.
Oh, man, it's used in so many different memes now. The internet's a great thing in many different aspects, terrible thing in others. But I'm a huge fan of comedy. So I get a lot of...
That's why he chose me.
That's right, baby.
Host. Yeah.
That's right. So one of the last piece that we wanted to jump in here before we do log off is if you take a look at my good friend over here to my right.
What's up, booty head?
We have our own merch shop that is currently up and live. It is at streamlabs.com /justthetip2024. You can find all the merchandise there. And that is actually a piece that King created on our... or for our stream rather, and there's tons of them on there, from the classic Stay Moist.
Moist AF.
That's right.
We'll fuck for food stamps. All kinds of fun shit.
Of course. Everything from bathing suits to dog bowls to your booty head slides.
Or where the white women at with the panda. Yeah.
That's on there too. So let me switch over real quick once more so you guys can see this. This is the merch shop, and this is actually the piece that he has on currently. There are some good prices on a lot of this stuff too, guys. It is all made per order, so anything you need. When we ordered our stuff, took us a week and a half. The first one came really fast. Second one, I think, was a total of less than 2 weeks, and that's from production to door. But if you want to support us or have content continue to come and help us along, or even if you have ideas about what you want to see for some merchandise, reach out to us. The possibilities are endless. We have the ability to do graphic design. We have the ability to put this up. And as we continue to have these shows, we're going to grab different sayings that we come up with as we've been going and kind of incorporate them into different shirts. And then also some current happenings. Well, so like the presidential shirt we were talking about.
Yeah, I'm very inventive. Would that even be the word for it? I come up with stuff on the fly. I'm very witty. So yeah, the booty head thing is just very basic and simple. That's something we, but there's other stuff on there that's stupid, and that shit's funny. Like, they're icebreakers. You're walking through, like, the mall or whatever, and you got a booty head shirt on, and people are like, "Oh, where'd you get that shirt?"
Yep.
Or like "stay moist," like that word in and of itself that just triggers so many people in one of two directions, and there's no middle ground. Like, people either hate it or they're like, "Oh my god, I love that other people hate it. Where do I get it?" So,
what's great about all that too, if you're from Erie or know of Erie, that's actually been going around the city for a while.
Yeah.
What he actually created using this nice drippy font. And before I even knew King or really had a chance to meet him, I've already seen his stuff going around.
Yep.
And then as soon as I had the opportunity and him and I were talking, got to thinking about different things that we could do. We incorporated it into this podcast, Just the Tip, with our drippy text. But it's kind of cool that it's almost become its own revolution here in Erie.
Yeah, it's funny. Like I actually have people that some of the stuff that was made here at within Erie, they would wear it to work, and people at work would be like, "Yeah, you can't wear that here." And then they're like, "Okay, word, then I just don't work here." And this is literally has happened before. And there's other people that have actually challenged wearing them, and then through human resources was like, yeah, they wear headbands. It just has a word on it. Like, it's
5 letters.
Yeah, I mean, and it could be taken in a very raunchy nature, I suppose, definitely. But at the end of the day, you walk through the supermarket and you're in the cake aisle, and that word is fucking everywhere. So, like, what's offensive? It's borderline. It's tiptoeing, and it's fucking awesome.
I actually, one last thing before we log off that still has to do with merch. I have a tank top that we went ahead and did, just like the stream you see below us where it says Just the Tip. It's in the Miami Vice colors. So it is, say, in the drippy text, moist, and right below it, AF. And you should have seen all the looks I got walking through the mall.
Yeah.
Walking through random places. It's just a fun word because number one, I don't understand what point human beings did become afraid of words or all jump on the train of you.
Yeah.
Words, and that one is it's got a little bit of fun to it, and that has to do with sensitivity of word.
Yeah.
And it's not even offensive.
And what a way to capital, like everything is in context. The way you use a word in context, if it's used improperly or properly, or like I am the king, literally, of being inappropriate at the most appropriate time.
Jesus Christ, it's Jason Bourne.
Yes. Yes.
Just like that.
Just like that. So, yeah, like grab some merch and rock it out. I mean, they're very affordable prices for the most part. So, and the shipping is rather quick. So.
Yeah, absolutely. Guys, once again, we do this every Friday at 1 o'clock. If you have any topics that you would like to see us cover, if there's anything that you feel that you think would add value to our show, let us know. We appreciate anybody who recently joined us on TikTok. This is the first time that we have done a stream on TikTok. There were a few stipulations it took for us to get live on here, but we have met them now. So we can be found on Kick, on YouTube, and on TikTok currently. So make sure that you follow and subscribe. We appreciate your support. And then until next Friday, stay moist.
Moist AF. Thanks for watching, and pound the like and subscribe.
Yes, yes. Thank you, guys.